For centuries, gold has been a symbol of beauty and luxury, and nearly since the dawn of the modern flute, people have been making flutes out of gold. In this video, I'll share with you the top 3 ways that modern makers are incorporating gold into their high-end instruments. And to demonstrate, I'll be using the Powell Conservatory 9K Aurumite flute, the Haynes custom 5% gold flute, and the Burkart 9-karat gold professional flute. So let's get to it. In 1847, Theobald Boehm, the inventor of the modern flute, exhibited his first cylindrical metal flute at the Paris Exposition. Prior to this, flutes had been primarily wooden and conical. Since then, cylindrical metal flutes have become the standard, although wood has been making a comeback recently. I'm not sure when the first gold flute was made. However, I did find record of an 1869 Louis Lot flute that was made out of solid 18-karat gold. And Jean-Pierre Rampal played on this flute for many years. From the Haynes Company website, I can also see that William Haynes made the first American gold flute in 1896. For pretty much as long as people have been making flutes out of different materials such as wood, silver, and gold, there has been an intense debate about whether the materials actually matter at all. And some of you have posted some very interesting comments on my previous videos. As someone who's probably played more than 100 different flutes of different makers, different models, different price points, and different materials, I really do believe that the material does make a difference in the tone color of the flute. Now, you can definitely come from me in the comments if you want about that, but maybe I'll consider posting a more in-depth video about this topic in the future, and please let me know if that's something that interests you. In general, I don't stray very far from the common thinking that silver imparts a shimmery and bright quality to the tone of the flute, while gold adds a roundness and warmth. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 ways that modern makers are incorporating gold into their high-end instruments. I won't be doing a side-by-side comparison of the flutes that I'll be showing you today because they're all from different makers with different head joint cuts and such, and so I'm not sure that that would be so valuable. However, I will be talking to you about my experience playing these types of instruments and giving you some short playing examples. But before we get to that, thanks to Flute World for sending me these beautiful flutes to try. With over 16,000 titles of sheet music, flute accessories, and new and used flutes from beginner to artist level, Flute World is your home for all things flute. Check out a Flute World store in person in Detroit, Charlotte, or San Francisco. In addition to beautiful flutes, sheet music, and accessories, they also have a bunch of live events, such as this mini recital and workshop that I presented at the San Francisco store recently. If you can't make it to a physical store, shipping is also available anywhere in the US and internationally. Number 1. Bonding gold to silver. The first way that modern flute makers are incorporating gold into their high-end flutes is by bonding gold to silver. Here I have a Powell Conservatory 9-karat Aurumite flute. Aurumite means that there is an exterior layer of gold and an interior layer of silver in the tubing. Perhaps the easiest place to spot this is in the embouchure hole of the head joint. If you look closely, you can see that the inside of the tube is silver, while the outside is gold. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, isn't Aurumite just a fancy name for gold plating? And I'm right there with you, so I reached out to Kristen of Powell Flutes, and this is what she had to say. Aurumite is Powell's patented fusion of gold and silver precious metals. It differs from gold plating in both the process as well as the resulting material, which has a gold layer that is 35 times thicker than plating. Did you get that? Aurumite has a gold layer that is 35 times thicker than gold plating. Kristen continues, our process accomplishes this by metallurgically bonding sterling silver and gold to each other while still in sheet or flat form. The resulting laminated sheet is then cupped and drawn into flute tubing, just like most other flute tubes are made. If we work under the assumption that silver has a slightly more brilliant tone color and gold a warmer tone color, then Aurumite could potentially provide the best of both worlds. At Powell, they produce 3 varieties of Aurumite flutes: 9-karat Aurumite with drawn tone holes, 9-karat Aurumite with soldered tone holes, and 14-karat Aurumite with soldered tone holes as well. The 9-carat Aurumite flutes will have the gold layer on the outside, while the 14-carat gold Aurumite flutes have gold on the inside. Kristen from Powell says that the 14-carat Aurumite would potentially have the warmest and darkest sound, while the 9-carat Aurumite with drawn tone holes would be on the brighter, more brilliant end. Let's go ahead and hear a few short clips of how this Powell Conservatory 9-carat Aurumite flute sounds like. Here are some of my thoughts about gold bonded to silver, such as in Powell's Aurumite flutes. I really appreciated the unique tone color of this flute. For me, in my experience playing this flute, it feels like the sound is starting with this beautiful shimmery silvery quality and finishing with the warmth of gold, and I really appreciate that complexity. Number 2, gold and silver alloys. The second way that modern flute makers are incorporating gold into their high-end instruments is with gold and silver alloys. Here I have a Haynes 5% gold custom flute, and in this case there are no layers fused together as with Aurumite. Instead, the tubing is made of an alloy that's 5% gold and 95% silver. Another example of a gold and silver alloy flute is Brannon's 15% gold, 85% silver flute. And this was actually one of the first flutes I ever reviewed for this channel, and I'll be sure to put a link down in the description. However, please forgive the video and audio quality, which hopefully has improved a little bit since then. The concept of an alloy flute doesn't take quite as much explanation as Aurumite. So let's just go ahead and hear what this Haynes custom 5% gold flute sounds like. In my personal experience playing alloy flutes such as the Haynes 5% as well as the Brannon 1585, I find that these flutes are absolute powerhouse instruments. They're capable of producing big, deep, robust, and projective sounds. So if that's something that appeals to you, then you should definitely check out an alloy flute. Number 3, solid gold. The third, and probably the most obvious way that modern makers are incorporating gold into their high-end instruments is with solid gold. However, it's not quite as simple as that. Did you know that most of the gold you'll find in flutes is actually an alloy? You'll rarely see a 24 karat gold flute, but if you did, it would mean that the gold tube was 24 out of 24 parts gold, meaning the purest form of gold available. In the case of this Burkart 9K professional flute, the tubing is made up of 9 parts gold and 15 parts other metals. In my Brannan 10K flute, it would be 10 parts gold and 14 parts other metals. With 14 karat, it's 14 parts gold and 10 parts other metals. I think you get the point. I'm not actually sure what those other parts are made of, but I think it's safe to assume that it's mainly silver and copper. To make an educated guess about the metallic makeup of a gold alloy, simply look to the color. A rose gold flute might have a little more copper, while a yellow gold flute might have a little more silver in the mix. Gold has approximately twice the density of copper and nearly twice the density of silver. In general, gold flutes tend to be a little bit heavier than silver flutes. However, the higher the carat of gold doesn't always mean the heavier the flute, because sometimes the flute makers will compensate for the extra weight of gold by making the tubing thinner. However, it doesn't stop there, because it's very rare that you'll find a full solid gold flute where all of the parts are gold, which brings me to my bonus 4th way that modern makers are incorporating gold into their high-end instruments, and that's by mixing metals. In the case of this Burkart 9K professional flute, the tubing and the lip plate are made of solid 9 karat gold, while the riser is made out of 14 karat gold, and the crown and the mechanism are made out of solid silver. Also, in the Haynes flute I showed you earlier, the tubing was made of 5% gold and 95% silver, if you remember that. The lip plate was solid silver, the riser was 18 karat gold, and the tone holes were 14 karat gold. All of these little custom details will have an impact in some way on the sound, but the best way for you to figure out what that impact is for you to try a bunch of different options. Let's go ahead and hear a little bit of how this Burkart 9K professional flute sounds. What I find interesting about playing this Burkart 9K professional flute is that Burkart in general as a maker has a very robust and forward sound. Now, when you pair that with the warmth of a gold tube, it makes for a very beautiful combination. In this video, I went through 3 plus 1 bonus way in which modern makers are incorporating gold into their high-end instruments. Did I miss anything? Have you had any experience playing any of these types of flutes? Please let me know down in the comments. That's it for today's video, and I hope you've gotten some enjoyment and maybe a little educational value out of it. And if so, please let me know by giving it a like and down in the comments. Thanks so much to Flute World for sending me these beautiful flutes to play on. And if you'd like to know more about any of them, please stay tuned to my channel because I'll have more in-depth reviews coming out soon. If you'd like to schedule your own at-home trial, please check out fluteworld.com or that QR code. Thank you so much for watching, and for more informational and inspirational flute content like this, please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting that notification bell as well. Thanks for watching.